Okay, let's say you're watching the Tour de France in 2026, and suddenly Tadej Pogačar rolls up to the start line with rim brakes. Yes, those old-school caliper brakes that look like tiny metal spiders clinging to the wheel. The internet would lose its mind. Cycling forums would erupt into chaos. Comment sections would devolve into hot messes of caps lock rage. But here's the twist, just 20 years earlier, this scenario would have been reversed. Disc brakes were the terrifying, cutting-edge tech everyone loved to hate. So what changed? And why do we so quickly forget how resistant we once were to progress, and let me tell you why this story fascinates me. Disc brakes in pro cycling weren't just a mechanical shift, they exposed this wild tension between tradition and innovation that plays out in every sport, every industry. Back in 2006, when some riders first experimented with discs, the backlash was brutal. Riders were blaming those spinning metal rotors for slicing their legs open during crashes. Imagine it, pro athletes, the pinnacle of physical mastery, suddenly terrified of a tiny piece of steel. But here's the thing, rim brakes weren't exactly safe. Ever seen someone crash at 40 miles per hour and get their hand shredded by a carbon wheel? It's gruesome. So why were people so much more scared of disc brakes? And what stands out here is how fear of the unknown distorts our perception of risk. Disc brakes offered better stopping power, especially in rain or on long descents. They made technical sections safer, reduced brake fade, and gave riders more control. But because they looked different, the rotors glinted like daggers, the calipers seemed bulkier, people fixated on the idea of danger rather than the reality. It wasn't about physics, it was about psychology. We're wired to distrust what we don't understand, even when the alternatives are objectively worse. And now, let's unpack the speed of the shift. By 2016, disc brakes were dominant. 10 years later, the hypothetical of rim brakes feels absurd. That rapid adoption raises a deeper question: how much of our resistance to new tech is just temporary cultural inertia? Think about cars. Airbags, ABS brakes, even automatic transmissions faced pushback initially. But once the new standard clicks, we can't imagine going back. Cycling's disc brake revolution mirrors this pattern perfectly. Yet, what's fascinating is how the pro peloton acted as both a testing ground and a marketing engine. When the Tour de France became a battleground for disc brakes, it wasn't just about performance, it was free global advertising. Every crash, every cut, every debate played out in headlines, and that controversy? It kept disc brakes in the spotlight, whether the tech was ready or not. But here's a nuance I think people overlook. Disc brakes didn't just change equipment, they changed racing dynamics. With better braking, riders can push harder into corners, descend faster, and take more risks. In my opinion, that's made modern cycling more aggressive, more thrilling. But it's also increased speeds in a sport already flirting with danger. So are we solving one problem while creating another? And how long before the next innovation sparks the same cycle of fear and acceptance? And if you step back, this isn't just about bikes. It's about how humans process change. We romanticize the past, fear the present, and eventually normalize the future. The disc brake saga shows us that progress isn't linear, it's emotional, messy, and deeply human. So next time you see some radical new tech in sports, remember, the outrage you're seeing might just be the growing pains of history in motion. What do you think? Are we too quick to resist change, or is skepticism sometimes justified? Let's hear it in the comments.